Hey, beautiful souls. I hope you're having a great start to your week. And today, talking all things self-love. Why is this important? What actually is it? And how can you increase it? So in terms of self-love, how it impacts every area of life, really it is a barometer for what we will allow ourselves to receive, or what we think that we're deserving or worthy of, or what we will tolerate in our life. It really is the base foundation for absolutely every area of life, be it our health and our well-being, how we treat our body, how we feel about ourselves, how we experience relationships in terms of what we make things mean. Hey Alice, great to have you on. And also obviously what we're interpreting things, how we perceive things. It goes into impacting our model of the world in terms of what we believe could be true for us, what we believe that we're capable of. It impacts our self-esteem, it impacts our self-belief and the amount of action that we'll take towards our goals and our dreams, the amount of confidence, the amount of courage that we have, and certainly can impact our relationships with our loved ones significantly. Whatever we haven't healed within ourselves, meaning whatever we still judge strongly within ourselves, we have a tendency as humans to project that upon others. And so again, this is such a key area in terms of really being able to improve and being able to accept these parts of ourselves and be human. And of course, you know, it's easy to love ourselves when we feel that we're being loving, or when we feel that we're being successful, or we feel that we're doing the things that we should or need to be in line with what our ego survival mind tells us. Hey Deb, great to have you on. However, you know, it's much harder to find self-love for the aspects of ourselves that sometimes get angry, or maybe get moody, or are jealous, or don't want to take action, or are feeling, lazy, or like all these things that we label within ourselves. And when we can understand that all of these are generally coping mechanisms that were formed at one part of our life to try and serve us, to try and help us in particular situations when we're growing up, we can bring in a lot more self-acceptance. But really, the biggest why self-love is so important is self-love literally will be the reflector of, or every other relationship will be a mirror to you in terms of mirroring back to you your own levels of self-love and what you're willing to tolerate, what you're willing to put up with, and even more than that, you know, being able to feel loved, being able to be in a relationship where you feel cherished, where you feel taken care of, and, you know, we're reciprocating that and it's mutually beneficial, and all of those different things. So self-love is so pivotal for every key area of life, be it our health and also money, relationship, like our relationship with money. Again, I truly believe we're all inherently worthy. However, our biggest fear as humans is that we're not enough. And because we believe or we fear that we're not enough, and every human being has their own flavor or their own theme of why they don't feel enough. Maybe it's not feeling successful enough, thin enough, pretty enough, smart enough, whatever. All the indoctrinations from society and all the things we've been told over the years that to be more perfect or to be better in this particular way. And there's loads of them, particularly as women. We get all these things projected upon us. And so when we're in our ego survival mind, we often feel that we're not enough. And so then we go about trying to prove that we are enough, or try, and you just, it's a hamster wheel that you cannot get off. Unless you do the mindset work, unless you start to challenge these beliefs that I'm not enough, or I need to be prettier, or any of those things. So, but in terms of money, and in terms of allowing ourselves to receive, and sometimes that's just receiving support, allowing ourselves to be helped, or, somebody else to step in and carry the load for a while. All of those things will absolutely come back to our level of self-worth. When somebody's providing feedback, our level of defensiveness, or how we are able to communicate in that moment will absolutely be dependent on our level of self-love that we have on board in any particular moment. Now, I don't believe that self-love is a one-time certificate, meaning, oh, right, I'm loving and appreciating myself today, so now I'm good. All the fears are gone. I'm good for life. It is a moment-to-moment choice, and it is a moment-to-moment kind of delayering and deconditioning process, I find as well. I truly believe, moving into what is self-love, I truly believe that self-love is very much an action and a feeling. So it's how we feel about ourselves, how much compassion we can hold for ourselves when we've made a mistake, or we feel like we've failed, or we feel like we've let somebody down, how we actually approach those things, what is the meaning that we're making about those things. But it's also the actions. So, and I heard this recently, as in probably 12 months ago, and it really was so succinct that following through on our goals is absolutely pivotal to our relationship with ourselves. In fact, our goals or our dreams or our intentions, things that we're wanting to create or pursue in life, absolutely indicative to the relationship that we have with ourselves. And so when we don't follow through on those things, when we don't show up, and again, there's a big difference between really pushing ourselves and exhausting ourselves and burning out, and I certainly don't recommend that. I've been there, done that, as many of you in this community also have. And but there's also, a consistency, a discipline that comes from what can I do to progress this or to move forward in a sustainable way. So really, understanding that self-love is absolutely a feeling and it is an action. So I'm going to give you the how in a couple of different ways on how you can improve your self-love. My first recommendation is write down 3 things that you like, love, or appreciate about yourself. Sometimes working with self-love can be very triggering for people, meaning, oh, well, I've never learned how to love myself, or I don't know how to love myself. I don't even know what that is. For me personally, self-love is most represented by a feeling of just feeling proud of who I am or how I'm showing up, or perhaps how I've navigated a particularly challenging situation, or perhaps how I'm growing, all of those things. But basically, it's feeling in alignment with your values. It's feeling that you are living in integrity with the person that you choose to be and that you value. When we go against our values, or when we're doing behaviors that are against our values, that is when it is much harder to access self-love, because we feel out of integrity with ourselves. And remember, integrity means a state of wholeness. It's integrity with itself. So those sorts of things can be really, really important. So knowing what your values are, living in integrity with your values is really important. But firstly, just starting with 3, once a day, just write down 3 things that you like, love, or appreciate about yourself. The second question that you can ask or you can journal on is, if I already loved and valued and respected myself at the highest level, what would I choose to do differently today? Now, that could be a very big question, or it might be have an extra glass of water, or it might be go for the 5-minute walk, or it might be have that difficult conversation, or it might be set some healthy boundaries with my kids or with work, or any of those things. It is going to be an intuitive response that comes up for you personally. And again, you can play with the words. If those words are too strong for you, it's like, if I was already loving and appreciating myself today, I would. That can be a softer version of that. Again, language is very powerful for everyone. So if the word love doesn't resonate for you, maybe it's respect, or maybe it's value, or maybe it's honor. Language is very powerful for ourselves individually, and each word means different things for different people as well. So some words will be more powerful in the way that you language that, or the way that you ask that particular question for yourself as well. So I really just wanted to give you those tips and ideas on how to really improve your self-love. I've also got my Warrior Goddess Self-Love School course as well. I'm still moving my business over to a new platform, which means a lot of my old links are broken. So I'm just currently going through and creating new links for all of those sorts of things. But if you'd love to find out more about the Self-Love School, please let me know. Drop a self-love below, and or comment, or send me a DM, and I can get that link to you as soon as I've got that built out as well. And but really taking care, understand that self-love is so pivotal. I was 31, my marriage broke down, my mum had passed away, and I found myself in a very difficult predicament and situation of going, oh my God, my 2 main sources of what I thought or felt were love to me were suddenly gone. And I realized in that moment that I had no clue how to love myself, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to create it. I didn't know all of those things. So, really working with our belief systems, challenging, is it true? When we think, oh God, I'm not good enough, or I'm failing, or any of those things can be really helpful. That's exactly what we cover off in with the self-love school. Sorry, I just got a notification through. It was just distracting me for a moment. So that's exactly what we dive really deep in, and we dive deep into how if you were already loving and valuing yourself, what would be different perhaps in your relationships, in your money, in your health, your well-being, the time and energy that you currently prioritize either for yourself or what you most value in life. We go through all of those things in that, and it's such a beautiful way of really uncovering, delayering and deconditioning some of these things that we've taken on, or that others have projected onto us through their own shame, through their own fear, through their own indoctrinations from society as well. So lots of love to you all. Hope that was super helpful. Drop below what was most helpful for you today in terms of the one or two things that you most took from what we've just ran through, and look forward to serving you further in the future. Have a fantastic rest of your day.